The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. At that time, Jesus told his disciples this parable. The kingdom of heaven shall be compared to 10 maidens who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, and 5 were wise. For when the foolish took their lamps, they took no oil with them, but the wise took flasks of oil with their lamps. As the bridegroom was delayed, they all slumbered and slept. But at midnight there was a cry, "Behold, the bridegroom, come out to meet him." Then all those maidens rose and trimmed their lamps, and the foolish said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out." But the wise replied, "Perhaps there will be not enough for us and for you. Go rather to the dealers and buy for yourselves." And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the marriage feast, and the door was shut. Afterward, the other maidens came also, saying, "Lord, Lord, open to us." But he replied, "Truly I say to you, I do not know you. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour." The Gospel of the Lord. Dear friends, we are opened yet again to the meaning of true wisdom. Wisdom cannot be found in miracles. Wisdom cannot be found in knowledge. These are the two things that are driving human interest today. For those who happen to be religious a little, they are looking for miracles. For those who are pagans, they are looking for signs. The entire human heart is after something that branches from nature, because they have seen nature so much and think that nature is ordinary. But nature is in itself a miracle. But because of ignorance, because of lack of wisdom, we cannot perceive the miracle that goes on. How is it that oxygen is the reason why we survive? Now, for those who have gone into the science of respiratory system, they have seen the magic, the miracle of the very phenomenon itself, taking in oxygen, the machines that are in us. How were they created? Inside the big machines called the species, you have other smaller machines called the systems, and then you have even smaller machines called the organs, and then you have even smaller machines called the tissues, and we are going down and going down to the cells, and even the cells themselves can be broken down, and then we find ourselves at the minutest divide, which is the DNA of the human person. These are serious miracles that no human science have been able to explain how it was put together. We struggle every now and then to assemble machines, but the fluency of the human person, the fluency of the snake, even the common fly that flies, as small as a fly, we stretch out our hands to want to kill mosquitoes, as small as a mosquito. You could see every single thing it does. It conquers distance, as small as it is. It gets food from its host. Yet it's so soft and it's so powerful, as soft as a mosquito. We fall under its power. Can you imagine the mechanism? The mosquito is complete in itself, nothing lacking. It can take care of itself. We don't take care of them. We don't see that miracle. Look at the ant colony, the discipline by which ants move. They don't move zigzagly. When you see the herds of them, they are far more orderly than our human beings. We don't see that miracle. We've not gone into the beehive and see what is happening there. We've not gone into the termite hive and see what is happening there. Everywhere we see miracles. How is it that sunlight is the reason why there is green? So there was that beautiful combination that what keeps life going on earth is totally outside of the earth. The miracles that surround us not sufficient, and then we are looking for signs, we're looking for wonders. And these signs and wonders do not determine wisdom. Now we go to the other side. We go to science. Science represents knowledge. Science in itself does not give wisdom. All the knowledge you can accumulate don't give wisdom. And so you can hear St. Paul making this eloquent summary. St. Paul making this eloquent summary to the Corinthians. He brought out these two problems. The Jews are seeking for signs and wonders. The Greeks are seeking for intelligence and knowledge, philosophy. But in all of this, there is no wisdom from the two divides. And what he has to preach is the wisdom of God that is found in Christ crucified. Now let us go into Christ crucified. Now Christ crucified himself was an embodiment of knowledge, embodiment of science. Christ crucified was an embodiment of miracles and mighty signs. And yet, the greatest work of his incarnation was not the knowledge, was not the miracle, but rather the wisdom in salvation. If God, who is so wise, chose to relate with human beings in this humble way, how much more we? St. Augustine, the son of Monica, whose mother we celebrated yesterday, is the one we are celebrating today. We already have some stories about St. Augustine's life. Now his mother is dead. He has been converted. God converted at the age of 33. He was made a bishop at the age of 44. You'd imagine someone who was a stark pagan, someone who was relating with prostitutes, someone who had his mind fixed only on signs and wonders, on knowledge, and he was involved in the Manichaean heresy because of his knowledge search. But I think when he found God, when he found Christ, every power that he had before were now fluently directed towards the greater power. We could see St. Augustine lamenting, "Oh, how painful it is that I knew you too late." But if they say Augustine knew God too late, the love that he expressed for God, the power by which he lived life, the victory by which he conquered every single opposing force to even this knowledge and wisdom, the eloquence by which this man presented the truth about light, about life, and about Christ cannot be measured. That even those who had known God earliest had done nothing close to what he did. St. Augustine is regarded as father of the church. He is regarded as doctor of the church. He is regarded precisely as the one who popularized monasticism in the church. And which church did he form? He formed the African church that grew so powerful. Africa presented one of the most intelligent persons on earth, who can only be measured by St. Thomas Aquinas, his Western counterpart. St. Augustine of Hippo happens to be one of the few greatest human beings on earth who combines the title of being a father of the church and also a doctor of the church and also a mystic of the church from paganism. Now, there was no single sign or miracle in what his mother did. There was no single sign or miracle in his conversion. When it was the turn for Augustine to start preaching to people, he remembered something. He was very bad, but his mother did not hate him. His mother hated the bad. And so he says, you fight the error and not the erring. Not the person that erred. You love the person that is bad, you have conquered the person's error. If you look at somebody's evil and paste it on the person's face, that person will only grow hardened. It is happening to how parents handle their children. It is happening to the insults that parents heap on their children that eventually make the children become even much hardened. A child that is known to be a thief at the age of 2 is given the beating of his or her life. And then it goes on until the child is 16. By then, it is now obvious. I think people have been beating me all this while. I've gotten used to the beating. What the child ever thinks about is how to hurt these parents that had hurt him. The child didn't bring himself or herself into this world in the first place. You brought me in. So you should have understood better. Augustine understood from the relationship he had with his own mother. There was no such thing as miracle, the kind of miracle we search today. But let us still use this same term, miracle. Augustine became a miracle in himself. The mother was not found going to one powerhouse, going to one prayer house. She herself knelt down to pray on the one hand and invited other priests and bishops to pray for her son. Her son saw the efforts of the mother. Any child that has brain sees the effort of the mother. That effort alone becomes the memory of the mother in the child or the father in the child. It is that effort that the child will brainstorm about. When the child thinks about the father, the child thinks about the mother. This is what daddy or mommy desires for me. What is it? Is it bad? No. Is it good? Yes. Is it to save me? Yes. Without you being there, the child starts auto-regarding what is going to save him from the resources of love and of the standpoint of the parents for his better life. That's why a lot of children come back after many years to tell their parents, don't think I didn't know what you were doing for me. I understood you stood for me. I was bad. Yes, they accept. St. Augustine became a great man and cried that it was late for him to have known God. But this was a man that stayed 15 years hard-hardened. It is the reason why we must really open ourselves. We who are already Christians, there are still many things we don't know. Ignorance is the reason why we are still on the level of spirituality we are in. So it is absurd for anyone to be proud about his status when we have not even grown higher than where we are. Why would St. Augustine start crying later that, oh, late have I known you? When he eventually knew, when he eventually experienced, when he eventually saw the truth, he regretted those 15 years that the mother spent. He imagined, how can I have refused such blessings, such food? What was I thinking? Where did my eye go? It was his own experience that helped him to preach, to convert so many people. You've seen nothing yet. You have not understood. We are making gra-gra. If only your eyes are open for just 1 second to know who God is to you. Every single thing in your life, you truly will sell for the purpose of being with God. Jesus Christ already had said this before. And then he gives this parable in the gospel passage of today. We have 10 virgins. You see, we are talking about virginity as good. You see, the 10 of them were good. But as good as they were, something deprives them from entering the kingdom, which is lack of wisdom. It is that lack of wisdom that we are crying for in this world today. It is that lack of wisdom that is making this church not to be filled now. Think about it. This is very, very practical. I mean, we access reality by means of the outcome, by means of the output. Oh yes. That lack of wisdom is what makes people put God's affair on the corner of convenience. But other affairs are not on the corner of our convenience. We can go every mile to ensure that we satisfy other affairs, material affairs, social affairs, pleasure affairs. But the affairs of God are always wrapped into the corner of our convenience. It is clear. Now, some people would say that the other wise virgins were selfish. Why did they not share their oils with the others? But this is common wisdom, simple calculation. If there are 2 lambs, one lamb has oil that will serve for 5 hours. The other lamb has no oil again. Now you now turn the lamb that will serve for 5 hours and give some to the lamb that does not have, so that 2 lamps will be burning at the same time. Then the hours by which that oil would have lasted will be reduced to 2.5 hours. Common sense. So we better preserve ours, so that at least there will still be a lamp standing. This is calculation. This is what Jesus Christ has been saying with the parables of the kingdom of heaven, talking about one who has a mustard seed that is planted, one who discovers treasure in the land, goes to sell everything to buy that treasure, one who discovers pear of great value, goes to sell everything he owns to buy. Everything is about projection. And so wherever you are, an addition is never bad. An addition is never bad. These wise virgins had an addition. They carried extra oils. An addition is never bad. Let God be an addition to every single thing you already have. If you say you have wealth, God will be a wonderful addition to wealth. If you say you have intelligence, God is the greatest addition to intelligence. If you say whatever you have, there is no harm having that addition. And guess what? That addition is actually the real thing. The very thing you say you have are transient. They will not even be there for you forever. So in truth, it is God we are supposed to have first, and other things be added. That's why Jesus Christ says, seek first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and then every other thing will be added unto you.